Hello and welcome to Goddess Resurrection. My name is Britta and I am your host. And today's episode is Identify with Your Divine Feminine Energy. And so before we get started, let me just explain a little bit about today's podcast video. It's all about understanding that there has to be a balance. Earth is a school format, and everything here is always going to find its balance. And so now this ascension process is very much about the balance. We've been identifying with our human selves, right? Forever and ever and ever. And now it's time that we also begin to identify with who we really are so that we can really be both, to really bring that balance within a healthy way into ourselves, which is then the inner union. And then from here, of course, we're going to experience and live that outer union and manifest that balance into our lives much, much easier than ever before. Before we dive in, I want to say hello. Hello, my gorgeous, beautiful sister goddesses. I hope you are well. I hope you are breathing and feeling. It's been intense. This eclipse season is kicking people's butts, to say the least. And, it's of course a very exciting time too, because yes, we are shifting. We are called to let go of that which doesn't serve any longer. And this includes, of course, being too one-sided, too lopsided, only masculine energy, only physical identification, only external attachments, right? That will not be a fun experience moving forward any longer. So hence this podcast today. So yes, I hope you're breathing and feeling, and you're really paying attention to yourself throughout this time. This is pivotal time to stay in front of it, stay in front of your change, stay in front of your growth, stay in front of your transformation. So your soul doesn't have to drag you kicking and screaming and fighting against it, right? Which is only going to make the transformation very long and unnecessarily exhausting, right? So the more that you go with it, the more that you choose your ascension, the easier this will all be. And you'll actually feel empowered by making those choices. Good. So let's dive in. Yes. It is time for you to identify with your divine feminine energy. And so what I mean by divine feminine energy is that remember that your feminine energy is the portal, is the doorway to your soul, to your light, right? To your infinite self. And so if you want to refer to God or goddess or universe, or feel called to say creator, right? Fill in the blanks for yourself. Use the wording that is comfortable for you. I do not belong to any religion or belief group. To me, I feel comfortable with any of the above ways of naming this higher source, this higher power, this beautiful place that is home from which we all come. And in this space where we are really all from, we are the oneness, we are source, we are light, we are the divine, we are spirit, we are creation, vibration, we are, right? We are creator incarnate. And that's what I mean by divine feminine energy. Because the feminine energy in and of itself is one of the energies that we're using. We've got the masculine energy and we've got the feminine energy, as you very well know. The masculine energy only focuses externally. For this earthly purpose, we are using the masculine energy only for the thinking, for the external relation right? The relatability to this earthly realm, this energetic school format. It is also where the ego hooks in. It is also where we're storing all of the patterning, all of the conditioning. It is through the masculine energy that any patterning really forms. And also the wounding, the trauma is all held within the masculine energy. And that's the way it's designed. Because the feminine energy is the balance side to this earthly, right? As above, so below, as within, so without. This is where we're now really needing to come back to that concept of balance. Everything on earth will always find its balance. I've seen this in my own life over and over and over again. If I was too much of a partier in my 20s, I really then, had to get into, hermiting and practicing solitude. When I was, traveling the world, living out of my suitcase, it then was followed by me being a mom and getting super, super, super grounded. And so, everything finds its balance. The bigger cycles as well as the smaller cycles, but everything always will find its balance. Always. That's a guarantee here on earth. And so, that's the same way with, make sure you pay attention to what you do and think and say, because everything comes back around, right? Which that's the concept of karma, but it's also related to that everything will always balance itself out. Nothing stays the same here on earth. So that being said, we've spent pretty much 99% of our lifetimes being in the masculine energy, focusing externally, being in the ego, relating to the external, getting our worth from the external, right? Feeling attached and dependent on the illusion, other people, places, and things. This was normal, the way it was designed. Now that we are shifting and Earth is anchored in this ascension process and the vibrations are raising, you have to stay in that mindfulness of that things need to shift internally, right? We cannot continue to be in that old way in the masculine energy all the time. That's not going to manifest your new Earth. It's not going to manifest your experience of yourself in that lighter, freer, more empowered way. It's just going to stay the same, but with the vibrations increasing, it'll squeeze us more and more and more if we're not going with it, if we're not staying in front of it, right? And so now look at the balance side. The balance side to this immediate, initial, grounded foundation, the setup, the premise for playing human is that you are extension of source, you are creator incarnate, you are infinite light playing human. And so this means now that it's time for you to really step into this identification with your true self. And let's go over what that will look like and feel like. But I just want to stay on the human part just a little bit longer for detail's sake. You identify with your body, right? This is your body. You identify with how you look. You identify with your hair color, with your eye color, with your teeth, with your skin quality. You identify with yourself in the way that you were brought up, right? You belong to a family unit or not? You were born in a certain state or country. You speak a certain language. You identify with yourself with your astrology sign, right? You have preferences. Maybe you really love vegetables, or maybe you really like pizza, right? So these are all these identifications that are the human you, the human part of you. And I hear people saying this all the time. They say, well, that's just who I am. Well, stop trying to change me. That's just who I am. And, this is just who I am is really only half of the message, and not even that, because we want to be open to change. We want to be open to evolving. We want to be open to shifting and growing and becoming more and better, right? So even on the human level, if we're just looking at the human level, even then, that's just who I am is really not a correct statement, because we can now evolve and grow into better versions of ourselves in every way, pretty much, right? So to the beliefs, to the preferences, that is all up for growth. But then we look at our eternal selves, right? And I would love for you to take some time with this. Who are you in your true self? Right? Just give it a few moments. You don't have to have an answer right now. Just feel into it. Like, what do you think? What do you feel are the qualities of your infinite self? Right? How are you this extension of source feeling about this incarnation? How are you feeling about your choices? How are you viewing your current timeline? How are you, the infinite you, in your power and your authority, right? What are some of the qualities of your light self? And so go ahead and really let yourself feel into this. Right? Because you, in your essence, it's very important now that you begin to align yourself more with these qualities. And I can share some of the qualities that I am in my light, but I really encourage you to give yourself that respect, give yourself that time, give yourself that space to get in touch with what are the qualities that you're feeling, sensing, reading, knowing in your light, in your creator self, in your divine alignment. So for me, source is love consciousness. And that means that on the human level, we want to stay open in the heart, right? The goddess is always open in the heart, no matter what happens. Goddess never closes her heart. She can be strong and she can make strong choices, and they can be very consequential in regard to what happened. But she never closes her heart, because that would be her closing herself, to her real self, to her light self, to her creator self, right? And so this doesn't mean we're pushovers. Not at all. Not at all. The light, to me, in my experience, is the most powerful force in existence. And it is, right? Light is creation. Without light, things would cease to exist, particularly on this earth realm, because everything is made out of light, even things that appear dark. At the core of them, they're light. Everything is light. And so think of that. You are this light. So how powerful are you? How much love could you possibly be? How much grace, how much strength, how much inspiration, how much grace, how much authentic empowerment, How much clarity and wisdom are you? Right? Get in touch with that. Remember that. Keep reminding yourself of your true qualities, so that when the old identifications of scarcity, or, oh, I'm not good enough, or, this is my trauma and that won't change, right? This is all part of the illusion. None of it is even real. And even though these are things that are a part of the earthly experience, by identifying with your true self, by aligning yourself with your true qualities, by playing with that and trying on new perspectives, trying on new responses. How would my light handle this? How would my light perceive this? How would my light respond to this? How can I respond to this in a loving way? How can I see this from a more compassionate angle, right? So the more that you're aligning yourself with your true self, the more that you are also able to transform the old human patterning, the old human identifications, your physical identifications, old beliefs, right? How many people still believe in separation, right? And that, oh, survival of the fittest, right? That whole competition, jealousy, envy, victim stuff that a lot of people are still, living in. But the moment we choose to align with our true selves, the moment we choose to play with that and think of it sometimes, and then remember to bring it into the daily moments, remember to bring in that, okay, well, I have to now know that this fear patterning, or this scarcity patterning, or this victim patterning is just illusion. It's just a part of the ego. Even though the reality, the external, may still very much reflect that old energy, right? And so you have to also then know and trust that the more that you focus on who you really are, that you already are all the prosperity, that you already are all of the health, you already are all of the grace. And so the more that you play with that, the more you're able to heal these illusion patterns, these old patterns that are not serving your ascension. The more that you're playing with who you really are, and how powerful and how free and how creative and how much of a creator you are, the more you're going to transform the old patterns that are just conditioning. They're not who you are. They might be a part of your physical identification, but remember, that's up for growth. That's up for healing. That's up for evolution. That's up for change. And so, therefore, allow yourself to play with who you really are. Yes, it's you, this infinite light being. Yes, it's you, infinitely powerful. Yes, it's you, infinite wisdom and grace and clarity. It's already who you are. And so to come back to that over and over and over again is going to form new patterning. Because while we are in these human bodies, we pattern very quickly. We pattern very quickly either way. We can pattern more deeply into fear. We can pattern more deeply into pain, or we can pattern more fully into our fearlessness. We can pattern more fully into limitlessness. We can pattern more fully into prosperity. We can pattern more fully into health. We can pattern more fully into authority and authentic empowerment. It just depends on where you're putting your focus, right? Remember, where your thought goes, that's where your energy flows, right? So it's high time. It's high time you use it. It's high time you understand that it's up to you. It is up to you to focus on who you really are, on how powerful you really are. And then not only focus on who you really are, right? Your divine feminine energy self, but then also focus on what are you going to do with it and how are you going to access it. And of course, if you know me, then you've heard me say this about 1,000,000 times before, and it never gets old. And the reminders are just as important today as they were yesterday, that you want to learn to use your physical self, the human identification. You want to learn to use that much more consciously, right? Don't let your thoughts take you into dense, old, negative patterning or habits or reaction or defense mechanisms or coping mechanisms, right? Don't let your old conditioning, your old patterning do that. Again, you've got to take charge of your both sides, your both identifications, and to learn to open, you got to learn to open your masculine energy. You have to learn to open your mind, which means freeing it from the thoughts, freeing it from the constant monkey mind, the constant overthinking, and freeing it so that you can stay open, so that you can stay receptive to your true self, because your true self, the real you, is going to come through with ideas and inspiration, right? Intuitive hunches and gut wisdom and downloads, right? Your true self can only come through if you, on the human level, are creating that space, are giving it that space, giving yourself that space. And then, of course, it's up to you also to not only give it that space, but then to listen. Be on the inside, like really pay attention to how are you feeling and what's coming in. Right? So for example, I am in my inner awareness. I am open on the inside to listening all the time. All the time. I am mostly clear of thought. And then I'm just in myself, in my breath, and I'm listening. It's this, you're opening your ears on the inside, your inner ears, and you're opening your inner sensory. And from here, from this inner opening, I am receiving knowing and knowledge and information all the time. All the time. Whether it's me putting together this podcast and the inspiration for it comes right through, or I'm focusing on social media or certain other projects or people, right? If I'm not thinking and I'm really in this inner openness, in this inner space, and I'm present to this inner communication, I am always listening and I'm receiving so much knowledge. I'm receiving hits of information constantly. And this is what's guiding me. This is what's keeping me healthy. This is what's keeping me in my joy. This is what's keeping me in my authority, in my authentic empowerment. Because things aren't always perfect. Things aren't always easy, right? The external is still the external. This world is still this world. But it's my job, it's my responsibility to stay as open to my true self as I possibly can. And yes, that of course deepens with time, right? I have deepened into myself. I have opened into myself over the years so much. And many may not like this, but it's the truth for me that the less I think, the more I know, right? And people get so caught up in this, oh, well, I need direction, I need to know. Well, but I need to know, right? It's the ego always needs to know. And it takes a lot of bravery to be okay with not knowing and to just allow for things to unfold. Just follow the unfolding. Just trust as you're still in yourself, you're still listening. Nothing is going to get by you when your inner awareness is present with yourself. You're not going to miss a beat, but you're not driving yourself crazy, needing to know. And when you're in that space of needing to know, do you ever know? No. So may as well enjoy yourself until you know. May as well enjoy yourself until it's time. May as well enjoy yourself and feel open and relaxed and joyous and grateful for the beautiful blessings that are here and now, while all of the co-creation is manifesting behind the scenes all the time. But you may as well enjoy the ride. And the less you think, the easier it will be to get used to that you can trust yourself. This inner knowing, this wisdom, this guidance, right? The more that you're listening, the more that you are inside, the less you have to worry, the less you have to rush, the less you have to pressure, the less you have to stress, because you are in your prosperity. And in that safety of trust, everything always just manifests. You have to learn to trust the timing, right? That also happens by you being inside in your feminine energy, connecting you into your light, into your creator self. And from here, you can get a great sense of communication as well with your higher self, with your light. You know, you can ask into yourself, well, what's next for me? What are the next steps? Where am I going? How come this isn't manifesting as quickly as I hoped it to be? And then generally, you know, some wisdom comes in. It's almost like it's this the soothing energy of, it's okay, just trust. You're still in preparation. Everything is perfect in the way it is right now, right? You're on the journey. Allow for this beautiful time of journeying. Enjoy every moment, every stage. And so this is why it is so important for you to really begin to identify with your true self. Because as these vibrations are increasing, when one is still so caught up in the thinking, so caught up in the needing to know, so caught up in the over planning and over scheduling, so caught up in all of that which is external of the physical, that's only gonna go so far. Like I've said before, especially now that when we're working with ourselves, our true selves, and we're listening to our true selves, and we're trusting our true selves, and we're following our true selves, we get to feel so good, and we get to feel so amazingly present to all of the magic that happens all the time, versus when we're all consumed with the masculine energy. First of all, we're lopsided, we're imbalanced. And with these vibrational increases now, it's gonna really make people feel ungrounded and lost and out of sorts with self and unfulfilled, and it's just this chase for more, this chase for more. It's insatiable. And so for the sake of self-love, for the sake of self-respect, it's time. It's time to really, really, really make that effort to create your inner balance, to focus on your identification with your light self, to embody the qualities. And if it's still new, that's okay too. It's never too late. It's perfect for your timing, for your soul's journey to start right now. And then from there, you play with that. You play with that. Okay, so I am this creator. Okay, yes, I'm extension of source. Yes, I am one with God or goddess. Yes, I am this beautiful divine light. Yes, okay. Okay, well then, let me play with that. Who am I? What are the qualities that I already am? And that's infinite possibilities. And that's a lot. It's everything. So have fun with that. Let yourself be playful, because that's the beautiful thing about the feminine energy. Very playful, very curious, very playful. Be playful and curious with yourself in being that beautiful union within, in being that beautiful balance. Because in this way, you will always stay in front of it. And in this way, you will very consciously use your masculine energy, however it feels from your true self. And you'll always know. And if there are moments of unknowing and uncertainty, well, then you just get to stay in the present, and you get to stay worry-free, and you get to stay in the trust and bathe in the joy until what you need to know comes in, because it always does. Good. My gorgeous sister, I am grateful for your presence here, and please do and share and subscribe and follow. And if you need assistance, you can reach out. My website address is down there in the link in the bio. I don't even know how to call it, but yeah, you know, down in there in that box. I hope you are enjoying yourself in your breath. And from here, I am sending love and light blessings to you and yours. And hugs and kisses. Ciao for now.